So next is how do you find a place to petition? Where do you go to ask people to sign your petition? One of the nicest things is to start local. So start with your own neighbors. Go next door and knock doors in your apartment building or in your neighborhood or whatever, and talk to your neighbors about the candidate, and ask them to sign the petition. But that's the best place to start because it's building a local network of your own neighbors, right? People begin to know who you are and know who the Green Party is, and you can actually start to build a local Green Party there in your neighborhood over time by talking to folks. So that's probably the best place to start. But if you're also looking for kind of high traffic areas to collect a lot of signatures, there's some other places that you might consider. Farmers markets are often a great place. Usually a lot of people go in and out of farmers markets, and usually you could stand right outside of the farmers market and ask people to sign as they go in and out. Sometimes if the farmers market is friendly, they might even let you set up a table in the farmers market itself and catch people that are going by. So you can always ask if that's okay. Any public building is a good place. So like a post office, lots of people go in and out to check their mail or to mail things. If you have a busy post office near you, that might be a good option. Same for a library. If you have a busy local library near you, that's a good place to talk to average voters that are just kind of walking by. You will want to make sure that they're actually registered voters, though, when you're talking to people in just kind of generic public spaces, because not everyone is registered to vote. So that's actually a good reason that you might want to keep a couple of paper voter registration forms with you. In some states, you can have them fill out that form to register to vote, and then they can immediately sign your petition right there. So that's a consideration. Crowded city corners. If you're in a bigger city, this is a great place to do it. If you hang out near, for example, a bus stop, people are going in and out of the bus stop all day, and so you can collect a lot of people as they're passing by. Another great one is on election day. So most of the time Greens run in the general election, which is usually in November, but there's usually a primary election just for the Democrats and Republicans in the spring sometime, in April or May or somewhere around there. It depends on your state, of course, but often there's a primary election. And so if you're lucky enough to be in a state that has a primary election that falls during your petitioning window, that's a great place to collect signatures, because you can go outside of the polling location and everyone going in and out of there is a registered voter. So you have a very high probability of getting valid, good signatures. So you might want to consider that if that's an option to you. Courthouses and other government buildings, like I said, especially during kind of lunchtime or whatever during the week, is a good place. People go in and out of the government buildings to do whatever they're doing. Outside of grocery stores, obviously everyone goes to the grocery, they got to buy food. So that could be a good place, although be mindful that that's a private property situation, where if you're standing in the parking lot or something, you're technically on private property, and they could ask you to leave. They could call the police or something like that if they get really upset. So you'll want to make sure that you're not on the private property, that you're standing on, for example, the sidewalk outside of the grocery store. If you know the people that run the supermarket or whatever, you can ask the manager if it's okay to stand there. And if they give you permission, then it's totally fine. But don't assume that you have permission. Same for any local events. If there's some special local event, a concert or whatever going on, you might stand outside the event and try to collect signatures. But again, be wary if it's on private property, right? Make sure that you stay on, for sure, public property when you're doing it, unless you have permission. So a good way to make sure you're on public property is I say, the sidewalk. The sidewalk is public property everywhere. So if you're on the sidewalk and you're not blocking people or whatever, then usually it's okay. And I already mentioned canvassing door to door. So you can go door to door to ask people to sign your petition. And the best neighborhood to do that is probably the one where you live, and to get to know your own neighbors and see if you can grow a Green Party in your community. I would also encourage folks to work in pairs so that you're not out by yourself for various reasons. It could be partly for safety, but also partly so that you learn from someone who's more experienced. Again, your state party or the campaign can probably help set you up with someone to do that. So you can ask about it. But work with someone else, especially if you're in a very public, crowded location, because then it's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's so many people that you can't actually get to everyone with your clipboards. Like, even if you have two clipboards and you're trying the best to flag everyone down, there's only so much one person can do. So if you know that you're going to be at a very crowded location, you might want to go with a couple other people to make sure that as a team you're grabbing as many people as possible. Because if you're busy with your clipboard asking someone to sign, then while that person is signing, you have however many people walking by that you're missing, that you're not even talking to. If you have a partner with you while you're busy, they could be grabbing those people. So it's good to pair up with some other people while you're doing this, particularly in very busy locations.